Hi friends, just a quick note to say, yes, you do have a Together Run here for you. However, it was actually recorded a few weeks ago. It was recorded just before I was leaving for New York and my trips. And I am sorry I don't have a current episode for you. It was particularly cold here in St. Louis. I also took some extra days off, and I know you wouldn't want me to force one out or just do it for the sake of doing it. So I'm going to share this one. Feel free, if you are not interested in listening to the past, to skip, but I think you'll still find a lot of interesting things in there. I talk about rounding out the book and where I'm at with that, and it's just a very uplifting and exciting episode. So let's get to it. Hello, my friends. First Together Run with a different phone. We're going to see how this goes. So I want to invite you to connect with some element of nature, whether that's feeling your feet on the ground, whether that's touching a literal something connected to the earth. I'm going to touch a tree, a leaf on the tree outside mine that is about to fall, has changed colours, and here we are in this time of year. Are we ready to head off on our run? 3, 2, and 1. Off we go. Now, I want to tell you that this run nearly didn't happen. I Chloe had a cough overnight, and I was awake with her a lot of it. And so I decided to not do my early morning run as planned when I'd planned to record this. I then decided that my book manuscript is due, well, actually, probably the day you're listening to this. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to skip my run today. Skipping a few extra runs these last few weeks, but it's okay. I'll tell you about you may have seen about some of my bad luck, let's say, over the last few weeks. And I'll tell you about that. But I just decided I'm not going to do it. But I managed to do a lot of editing and working on the book today. And it's 2:00, and I thought, you know what? I really feel I'm craving going for a run with you. So I decided to abandon that urge of the pressure of hustle, and head out for a run instead, so that I could connect with you. And so what if I lose an hour of productivity? You know, you can only do what you can. And I feel like for my mental health, checking in with you is one of the best things I can do. Now, before we begin, our usual check-ins of body scan, census check-in, and mental health check-in conversation. I want to remind you, if you missed the Together note last week, that these runs are going to be on the feed on a bi-weekly basis now, because we have some exciting new updates, new runs, new adventures for you on Patreon, in addition to other benefits. So over on Patreon, you will get to join me. I take you with me. Just like right now, I felt like I crave that connection with you. When I arrive in new cities, places that you may not get the chance to go right now or even ever, I take you with me when I get there. So as I'm exploring, you're exploring right alongside me. I make sure not to say anything that could give away the time of when I'm doing it. So it just is going to feel, whenever you feel like escaping, especially during this winter that is coming for many of us, or the brutal heat of the summer for others, you can come with me on this run. It runs in Chicago, in San Francisco, in Lake Tahoe, in New York. There's runs all over that I'm taking you with me as part of our travel together runs. By also signing up to be a Patreon member, not only are you supporting me, saying that you appreciate all this free stuff I give out, the gift, Mum, don't want to say myself I give gifts, but the love and energy I put into this community, the fact I make everything for free. I'm currently working on a massive YouTube series that is going to be all free, educational series, and I do that because I know how it goes and I want things to be inclusive. But if you do have the ability to support me on Patreon, you're supporting me, you're getting these bonus together runs. You can ask your questions to be answered on Weekly Strides. You can ask your questions of guests coming up in the upcoming episode. I'll tell you weeks ahead who I'm going to be interviewing, and you can ask your questions, and so much more. Oh, a live Q&A once a month. So head on over to Patreon when you finish your run if you can. Your support means the world. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our body scan. Actually, I had to write out in the book, one of the bits of feedback from our editor was when I was talking about Together Runs was, can you explain how to do a body scan? So there's a little sidebar in one of the chapters of how to do a body scan, which felt a bit strange writing it out. Feels so natural to do it, but then when you say like slowly start scanning down the body like a wave going through all the various body parts, whatever I said, it's a lot easier to just do it than it is to describe how to do it yourself, you know. You probably have some things like that in your life that you do so naturally and you instruct others on so naturally, but trying to describe it is quite hard. So with that, let's go ahead and do it. With this body scan, if you've not done so already, you're going to start at the top of your head. We're going to work our way down, just like I said, like a wave working its way through our body, scanning down, checking in with the various parts of our body, and just seeing how we're doing. So you ready? Starting at the top of your head, working your way down, checking in with your eyes, making sure they're not scrunched or holding any tension, going down into the nose, into the mouth, making sure the mouth, you're not clenching your jaw, holding tension there. As you continue, checking in with the back of your head, your inion, coming down into the back of the neck, going into the back of your shoulders, into rounding the upper arm, into the elbow and forearm, checking in with your wrist and hand, going into the fingers, tips of your fingers, before coming back to the main part of your torso, going down through your torso, through your chest, into your stomach, going around the back to check in with your lower back as you come into your hips and pelvis, getting all around that area before you go down into your quads, and turning to the back to check in with your hamstrings. Go in through the back of your knee, come round to the front of your knee. As you work your way into your calves and shin, into the inner ankle and the outer ankle, into your heel, into your arch, and the top of your arch, as you go into the ball of your foot, and finally into your toes. How's everything feeling? For me, feeling okay. I'm a bit more out of breath than I thought I would be today. Could be many factors. I'm also feeling a bit warm. I went with a t-shirt, and it's definitely would have been tank top weather. I may even end up in a sports bra. Okay. Oh, there's the most beautiful tree in front of me right now. It's like red at the very top. It looks like it's like red orange, yellow and green, all 4 colours, just in this one tree, which is a Bradbury pear, which is the tree we have outside my house, which if you have listened to these for a while, you remember me saying is an invasive species, and especially here in Missouri, they are not good, and I was encouraged to cut us down, which I cannot do, but still, that's a beautiful Bradbury pear. Still a tree, right? It's native somewhere. So anyway, coming back, gonna check in with our 5 senses. Even though I just described a vision I see, we're gonna go into our sight last. I'm gonna ask you to take 3 today. Nice deep breaths, as deep as you can make them for running. So let's go ahead and do that at your own pace. I like to take just a quick breath or 2 between each one. Up to you if you want to do that or not. And 3. I feel like trying to take 3 deep breaths while running in a row is like too much. At least makes me feel a bit panicked. What do you smell? Mine relates to what I just said. Full leaves, the smell of, that's just a full smell. I suppose it's probably more rotting leaves, isn't it? But whatever it is, it's that smell of autumn. I've just realised something. You know the red papers that I sometimes talk about on these runs? The guy's going to be delivering right around this time. So you may get to witness my full level of anger. If I see this guy missing like 50% of the houses he's throwing papers at, getting it on the road, to which I spend good chunks of my runs picking up these papers. Let's hope we don't run into him today. Okay, what do you taste? I take sugar. My mum bought these Arizona iced teas when she visited earlier in the summer, and they're still hanging around in my pantry, so I put them in my fridge recently and I'm drinking them, and I had half of one like half an hour ago. They're so sweet. Like, I like my sweets, but drinks that are like overly sweet, just kind of I'd rather like eat some sugar, not eat literally spoonfuls of sugar, but you know what I mean, like eat something like that is high in sugar than drink it. So I can still taste just the sugar from that drink, even though I only had half. It's so strong. Next, it's up to you whether you want to remove your headphones or listen to my surroundings. I want you to take about 45 seconds and check in with your ears, with your hearing. What is it you hear? Just go ahead and do that. One of my noises is my favourite sound. Few more seconds. Okay. What did you hear? You were listening to yours or mine, you heard noises. I heard the crunching of leaves, which I love. I heard like bits of sand or grit moving underneath my feet. I heard my breathing, I heard birds, and I hear the wind. Next, we're going to go on to our sense of touch, tactile. I want you to just be in your body and see what areas, what surface areas or internal areas of your body, being in your body, you experience. Is it the wind on your forearms or the sweat on your brow? You should just check in, follow wherever your attention goes. What do you feel? A few more seconds. Continue following your awareness. Okay. For me, I felt mostly just this kind of weather and the varying differences it brings. My chest feels very warm. The sun is on it, so obviously where the heat is radiating, I feel a little bit slightly chilled on my hands, my forearms, upper arms feel the wind on them. I feel the shade of the bill of my cap. Just lots of different sensations, all dependent on the elements around me. I want to invite you to think about that within your own life for just a minute. What elements of temperature do you feel in the various parts of your body? It's going to give you a moment to reflect on that. Okay, thanks for checking in, that extra check in there. What did you notice? Other than the extreme seasons, generally we do feel a bit of everything, don't we? Okay, and finally, your sense of sight, your vision. What is it you see? It's going to give you a little bit of time to look around. I invite you, as always, to find at least one element to really focus on, to look for details, to pay attention to those details, things that you would never normally notice if you were not doing this right now. What do you see? I hear this dog that I'm torturing by doing the same loop again and again. Few more seconds. Okay. For me, I'm in total awe of all the different shades of colour all around me right now. It really is peak season here, and it's just so many shades. The greens and the reds and yellows and oranges and golds and like maroon, and it's just beautiful. I just feel so thankful. And this year, I feel like I've really been able to appreciate the fact that, okay, I may not have the stunning view of some locations in the world, but even if you are in a place where you're just surrounded by, cement, houses, buildings, the trees, the sunsets, the nature that's around us, we can hone in on that, almost blotting out the man-made parts if they don't add to the view, and just be thankful for those. I've got really good at doing that this year. The other day I had a really long day with my kids, and then we were outside a lot, but in the evening I went back outside and by myself, and I just sat at the base of our slide and just watched the sunset go down by myself while they had their watch time, and just admired the colours of the rainbow in front of me through the trees, but also the sunset, and recognising that I got to see every colour of the rainbow in my view. It's just amazing, isn't it? At least I think so. Bailey was asking me the other day, like, what colours aren't there in nature? I was like, well, there's all colours. All the colours of the rainbow are in nature. So she was like, what's white? And I was like, what's white? Just asking me. But it's something we just take for granted if we don't think about it. All right, well, thank you for checking in with your senses. I need to peel myself off this same old loop, go a different direction. It's so hard. I just find I get stuck on it. It's just like comforting. Maybe I'll go around one more time. No, I think I should move. It's moved, but it's quiet here as well. All right, I'm going to go around one more time. Okay, so in a minute we're going to do our mental health check-in. But first, I actually want to say and shout out two of my friends on here who I know are listening, who I'm so appreciative that I got to meet in Chicago not long ago. This is actually the first Together run I've recorded here since I saw them. And that's Tiffany and Morty. I want to say hi to you. Tiffany pushes Morty in an adapted chair, and I love that I got to meet them both when I was in Chicago at the Allbirds event I hosted there. And by the way, if you are, well, I'll say about that in a minute. It was such a joy to have that time to talk to them. And I know Morty's favourite run was when I swallowed a bug. And I'm not going to promise, I definitely don't want that to happen again. But Morty, I'm glad you not only got to have a laugh at my expense out of that, but you also shared that and enjoy these together runs. That means so much to me. You and your mum, Tiffany, who came with me, with your dad, to come to my event and meet me. So thank you to you. So I mentioned there about an All Birds event. As you are listening to this, if you're going to be in New York City Marathon this coming weekend, I have a few different things you can do. On Friday morning at 10 a.m. I'll be hosting a plogging event with New York Road Runners. All of these links will be in the show notes. Plogging event, plogging means picking up trash while you go running or jogging or walking. And so I'll be hosting an event with New York Road Runners from their run centre. I'll put the Eventbrite link in the show notes. I'll also be hosting an All Birds event like the one that Morty and Tiffany came to in Chicago. Very fun, silly, light-hearted. It's 3.8 kilometres, so your non-running friends can come, your family can come, your kids can come. It's definitely not a run. If you want to walk it, that's absolutely fine. I know a lot of people, if you're racing, you don't want to be, running around everywhere and going too fast because you're trying to keep up. This is not that. I'd love to see you there. It's at 201 Columbus Circle, or Columbus Ave, sorry. But again, I'll put links in the show notes. And finally, if you do want something a little more serious, I will be at the Tracksmith Shakeout on Saturday, hosting that with Tommy Runs, Alexandra Will, and Knox Robinson, and Erica Stanley Dottin, who's the community manager for New York Tracksmith, will also be there. So massive one there. I'd love to see you at any of those things. And then on the Sunday, I'll be running as a guide. You can follow along. I'll be putting my runner's number in my social media and in my email, so you can follow along with us. Okay, so mental health check-in. So I ask you now, how are you? Really? Go ahead and share with me. Take a few minutes. Let yourself, even if you wouldn't actually tell me if we were running in person, what do you want to admit to yourself or tell yourself right now about how you're feeling? Why does it make sense that you feel that way? Let's go ahead and do that now. seconds. Okay, thank you for sharing, for allowing yourself to go there and check in and ask yourself those important questions. I managed to peel myself off the loop. And okay, how am I really? Well, as we're near 45 seconds, actually I'm going to answer that question once we have done our 2 strides, which we will be doing at the 30-minute mark. If you're running 30 minutes, I want you to come to a walk. We'll give you just under a minute to recover, and then we're going to do 2 by 10 to 15 seconds with a walk in between or a run in between if you're doing 45 or 60 minutes, just to shake up our legs, give ourselves a bit quick turnover, and just because it's what we do here. So, are you ready? I'm going to come to a walk whenever you hit 30, which I just did. I think this might be the first run in a while I haven't had to stop for some reason in the first 30 minutes. So I'll give you just a little bit of time to recover, and then we'll go on to do our 2 strides, and then I'll answer my how are you really question. And there's a lot to digest today. So be ready. Okay. We're going to do 10 to 15 seconds. I'll tell you when to start, tell you when to stop. Oh, wow, very loud for a sec. And remember, we're not taking big strides, big steps. We're just taking more steps. Ready? 3, 2, and 1. Here my cadence or my numbers of steps has gone up. And come to a jog or a walk if you're in a 30-minute group. We've done it together running the day like this for a while. We'll take a few more seconds. We'll do one more in a 30-minute group. Be on your way to go check out the links in the show notes, to go sign up for Patreon if you are willing and able. Right, we're ready? 3, 2, and 1. Come to a jog or a walk. 30-minute crew, you're welcome to hang around, listen to my how are you. It's going to be an interesting one. Or you can head off. Either way, while you're walking along, take a picture. Let me see where you are running. Upload it to social, send it to me. I really, really, really love to see these. I mean it. I love seeing you together on photos. Okay. And we're going to check out Patreon. Okay, so, for the rest of us, how am I really? Well, the first thing that's coming to mind is my itching in my butt, which is from poison ivy from wiping there. And I'll tell you the whole story in a minute, because I haven't shared the story anywhere fully. But first I want to answer the rest of the question. Stick to one thread at a time. How am I really? I'm itchy. I'm excited to begin 2 trips I'm about to head on back to back. I'm including a speaking event, which would have done by the time you listen to this. So it's been a while. It's a bit nervous, but mostly excited. Also excited to check out what Tahoe really looks like after all these years of hearing people talking about it. And to be around other like-minded people. This event is definitely for people who are passionate about the environment. Even though, yes, I do get the irony that I'm traveling to a conference about sustainability. I get it. And then from there, I come home and have one day, and I go off to New York, which I am maybe more excited about. I have a lot of friends I'm seeing, I'm excited to run the race again, excited to meet lots of you, I hope, and just it's always a feel good. Well, I don't say always, sometimes I've come away from there feeling a bit like, I don't know, just at times I've come back in the past where I didn't feel like I belonged, like I was trying too hard to fit in and people weren't interested in me being a part of things. I don't know, but I haven't felt like that in recent years. I know who to surround myself with now, including you. I'm also feeling guilt this week. My book is due, as I mentioned, and I've been doing a lot of extra time, all my time that Steve is home, not cooking dinner, and I really have been reserving chunks of time to be with the girls. Like, I took them to the nature playscape one evening. We carved pumpkins last night, and we're going to a thing called Boo in the Zoo on the night I record this. But still, I've been leaning on Steve and taking away time that I would be spending with the girls because I need to get this book done, but also recognizing that even though I need to get this book done, Steve is still going to have the girls with his parents, but still the chunk of the majority of the childcare on his own for 10 days while I'm gone. So that is weighing on me. And then, of course, the fact that the book manuscript is due and we weren't given that long to make the edits is pretty stressful, because you really want to make it, you know, as you can imagine, you want to make it the absolute best thing you can make it, but we've got two of us, which helps in some ways, but also makes it harder in other ways. And so my neck and my back hurts and my eyes are just like, I know it's been very damaging to my body this last week and a half, 2 weeks, with the amount I've been sitting staring at a screen. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit stressed about that. Also feeling, as I mentioned earlier, love and appreciation for the time of year. The day has so much activity, so much going on. My quiet 5 a.m. is just like nothing. Which relates to my story. Just a lot in my brain right now. People, friends and family always tease me that my brain is working 100 miles an hour. Steve described it best the other day when my neighbor he said something and she said, I know, I listen to you. And he said, well, good job, someone does. And then she was like, oh, what, Tina? And he said, yeah. When she asks me a question before I've got the time to answer it, she's already thinking about the next thing. Like, yeah, sounds about right. So even more so during this time. But I believe in what I'm doing and Zoe is doing, and so I know it's worth it. Still doesn't make it any easier. Okay, so we've got 7 minutes before 45 to peel off. We'll do an update in just a second, but first I want to tell you my story. So, last Thursday, well, it's Thursday today, as I'm running this, but the Thursday before this, I was running with my running buddy Lane, who I run with once or twice a week, it's like the perfect training partner for me. He's like the ideal level of fitness for us to just push each other. Like when we're doing workouts together, we, like, if one of us takes like half a step off, the other one will kind of be like, I don't know, you don't even say anything, but you like feel the, come on, and then we come level again, and then the other one of us will feel not so great, and then you feel it like almost pulling you along. Like it's always what I've dreamed and imagined running with a training partner is. Like there's no like ego there of trying to beat one another or trying to prove superiority. It really is just an honest and beautiful thing. Anyway, so I was running with Lane, and my neighbour also decided to join us. Haven't run with her in a while, but I started the run. I'd eaten week-old eggplant lasagna the night before. I know, not the best choice, but food waste is my response. And you laugh at that because I eat food waste like that, or food leftovers like that. My dad will eat things like 2 weeks old or like way past their date, and he's just got like a rock stomach, iron stomach. My mum, however, will only eat, she won't eat a lot of things left over at all, and even things she will eat as leftovers, she'll only eat them for a day, like the next day. So you got two opposites here. Anyway, so I ate this lasagna. Because I was running at 4:45 in the morning, I usually wake up at 4:30, get up, get downstairs, eat something, get a glass of water, try and go to the bathroom. Most of the time I cannot, and head straight out. I don't even have time for athletic greens on those mornings most of the time, because just literally down half a glass of water and call it good. So I'm just trying to, get out the door. So I got out the door, and I immediately could feel my stomach was like distending really far out. I could tell it was like, and it's just like rock hard and it's not happy. However, I didn't really feel anything, so Lane and I ran for a bit, and we picked up my neighbour Alison, and then we went on a run. And immediately I said, my stomach doesn't feel good, I think I might have to look for a bathroom. And so we started to look, and as I've mentioned on these runs many times, there's construction everywhere. Like I can see some right now, I can see some anywhere, always. And so I was like, we'll come across the bathroom, and we couldn't find one. And then we were like, okay, well, let's go here, because there's definitely one here. We got there, and no, that one had been picked up. So now I'm starting to panic, because I'm like, where is one? And we're trying to, between the three of us, we're like, is there one there? I think there's one there. Is it this way? Or is that one quicker? So we're kind of zigzagging around, but I'm finding nothing. No porta potties anywhere. Nothing's open. We're not near any shops. And I'm meanwhile, I'm getting to the point where I can't really concentrate. I'm just literally panicking. This is coming. And so we eventually reached a point where we're kind of running into each other, trying to decide what direction to go. And I'm like, okay, let's just try and make it back to the house. And so we start running faster. See, I see a porta potty right now. And so we're running, and suddenly I get the warning where it's all right, go time. This is your final warning. And so I know I am not going to make it home. 6 minutes away, no way I'm going to make it home. And I can't think of any porta potties nearby. So then I see we just passed this one stretch, which is my only real spot that isn't someone's yard. It's like just probably is someone's, but it's not. It's kind of like left overgrown. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to do it. Better than going in my pants and it coming out on the floor. And so I go, and as I pull the leaf off to wipe myself, I don't know why, because I don't typically use a leaf for the reason I don't want to pick anything off the floor because it could have poison ivy on it. But for this day, I pulled it off the tree, and I remember like 3 or 4 leaves fell off on a little branch. But when I grabbed it, because it fell off like that, it fell on the floor. Not thinking anything of it, picked it back up and used it. Didn't think anything of it. About probably 36 hours later. By the way, we're coming up to 45 minutes. When we get there, if you're running 45 minutes, you can just come to a walk. We'll do a stride. I may finish my story in time. So, not thinking anything of it. 36 hours later, I get like a really bad itch in my bum. And I'm like, what is that? And the day after that stomach thing had happened, that whole day, I was on the toilet all day. Like my stomach, I don't know if I called it food poisoning, but it was close. I probably went to the bathroom 15 times that day. And so I was looking up, as you do, what it could be after some debating whether I wanted, potential organisations and governments watching me, switching my phone to private mode, of course, which probably doesn't do anything. And then realising that I kept coming up with hemorrhoids, and I thought, oh, maybe I've got hemorrhoids, because it said that can be a side effect of diarrhea. I thought, oh, okay, it must be it. So it's really itchy. But it had some hemorrhoid cream from pregnancy, and I put that on there. Obviously, remember at this point that I hadn't cleaned my bum off from the oils. At this point, I cleaned myself, but just with normal soap. And so, use this cream, use it 2 or 3 times over the next day, not helping at all. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I look down at my leg. Sorry, we're way over with the strides. I'm going to have you hang on, or if you want to do strides on your own, you're welcome to if you want to go. Remember to check out the links I mentioned in the show notes, but if you want to hang around, you're welcome to. Just don't want to stop right here. So, I look down at my leg because it's itching me, my thigh, and I'm like, oh no. And then it dawns on me, oh no, the other day. And so I have poison ivy on my leg. And at this point I see a neighbour out in the street, and it's like, how are you? And a lot of my neighbours always say that to me, and they just want a one-word answer. But I never give it to them because I'm just not, you know me by now, I'm not the kind of person that's like, good, thanks, you. So I'll tell them. So I said to him, yeah, fine. I was like, I think I got poison ivy, so that's quite worrying. And he was like, hopefully it's just, a bug bite. I'm like, no, there's poison ivy. Anyway, so he goes off. And now I'm like panicking because I'm like, where is this gone? Where else is this gone? So then I go inside, basically leave Chloe to fend for herself for a minute while I go scrub my entire body from head to toe in this poison ivy soap we have, and Technu, which is the poison ivy, product. Scrub myself. And so now I'm aware what it is. And so then the next 24 to 48 hours were hell. As you can imagine, how freaking uncomfortable that is. It was on my leg, yes, but that was tolerable. The part, like, you imagine you cannot scratch it, although at night you do because you're asleep and you don't realise, and then you wake up and it is like angry, like really, really angry. And so, you know, multiple nights in a row, including those of you who read my newsletter would have seen, I was up from like, 11 to 1, 2 to 4, because it was so itchy. There was like absolutely no way I could sleep, and it was so itchy that I could not dig my fingers into my palm deep enough. Like, I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs. It was so itchy. And, there would be times where I would be like, deal with the consequences and just go. Like, scratch the hell out of it. And then I deal with, 5 minutes of absolute misery as it was, enraged. And I'd be like, stop! Get myself as I'm still scratching. Stop, Tina, stop! Almost like it was, another person, grabbing my arm. Don't do this to yourself. But I couldn't. So then, I eventually caved. I know I'm allergic to poison ivy. You probably remember I had it this summer. But I didn't take medication then. The doctor, my GP in Kentucky years ago, said to me that if I'm allergic enough to where anytime I need steroids I should take them. Or he said actually I should take them every time. But I don't like doing that, so I didn't do it last time. But I caved and, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. So now I'm on steroids. I'm actually on my second batch of steroids because the first set helped a little bit, but nowhere near. Even today, it's still very itchy. And I'm on day 3 of my second set. But yeah, so poison ivy in the workplace is as bad as you can imagine. Although I will say, I have heard of people having it in their lungs and in their eyelids and in their mouths. So I think that could be worse, those places. I also think, I'm thankful that I didn't somehow get it on my kids. Because for those who don't know, poison ivy, it's this plant oil that the tiniest amount causes a reaction. And you don't know it's there because it's invisible. And it doesn't come off with soap. You have to use either fully, the corporate brand, dishwashing soap, or this special soap to get rid of the oils, and you have to scrub it. And so in the time between you getting exposed, you have about 12 hours before it starts to react to get it off your skin. But as I said, it's invisible, so most of the time you don't know that it's on your skin, and unless you know you've been in it. And so that's the tricky bit. But then during the time between that first little reaction, which you might think is just, a bug bite or an itch, which I did, it can get all over, as you can imagine. If you scratch that itch, now it's on your hands. Where do you take it from there? I want to clarify that I wiped with it, I didn't scratch myself before. So yeah, still dealing with the consequences. Miserable. Sorry we missed our 45 minutes strides. Let's just go ahead and do 2 now, and we'll call it good for today for everyone. So you ready? 3, 2, and 1. Into a jog or a walk. Wow, I'm going to be way off. So far away from home at the moment. Oops. Give you another 30 seconds and we'll do one more. Got too carried away in my story. So moral of the story is, don't use leaves. That's what I learned. Okay, ready for another stride? 3, 2, and 1. Okay, come to a jog or a walk. 45 if you're still with us. Thank you for hanging on longer. Appreciate you. Thanks for your support. I'll see you next time. I'll see you in 2 weeks, because remember, we're not having one next Monday. We have one in 2 weeks. Okay. So, one quick thing I want to mention before I give you time to share your updates is that while this situation has been horrific and really, really uncomfortable, and the steroids and the itching combined have made it very difficult for me to sleep, because these steroids are very they help with inflammation, so they speed everything up, and so they call it the Superman drug. I can definitely see why it's a banned substance, because it makes you like wired, and so I definitely feel that, and I'm a little bit thankful for that, because it's allowed me to concentrate with my book. So there's my small silver lining. But my point is, even though I've been in this discomfort, I can still, even while it's itching as I run right now, be thankful that you are here with me. And I feel you with me. I really do feel this community. That's why I decided to go out right now. And I can still look around and see the colours of the trees. I can still, I'm gonna go this way. I can still, be grateful for my body that is doing its best to heal, even in this tough situation. So I think quite often we think we're either in a state of joy and happiness, or we're in a state of suffering. And this has really shown me that I can be doing two things at once, and often we are. And experiencing two things at the same time. I've talked about this in the mental health check-in, but it's really become especially apparent for me right now. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, so I'd love for you now to tell me what your updates are. Or if this is the first time you're doing one of these together runs, tell me a little bit about you. What would you be sharing with me if we were running together right now? I'll let you go ahead and do that now. You finished? Keep digging. What else would you say? Just a few more seconds. Okay. Thank you for sharing. If you are on Patreon, you can go ahead and share a bit about this. The answers to what you told me, what you saw, what your reflections were, maybe your poison ivy stories over there. That's one of the gifts we have now. We have a place we can share and talk about it each time. And if you're not, I get it, like, it is an expense. I know that not everyone has the ability to do that right now. And if that's the case, you sharing this, just, screenshot a photo you took as you slow to a walk in a minute, of your scenery, of your run. I'm actually going to take a picture of this tree for a minute because it's really cool. Let me just do that. Okay, I think that kept recording. But I saw this tree that's like it's like yellow, but it's like fuzzy, like a pine. But yeah, something you see, I'll share the picture of that tree on your run, because you sharing it is another way you help me out, as is leaving a review on iTunes. So if you can't do the financial support right now, I understand. That's one way you can help me out. All right, friends, you can come to a walk. Bit over. And I want you to find some element of nature to connect in with to finish. I'm going to just kick my feet through these leaves. It's such a mix of different types of trees here. I love it. I want to thank you for joining me today. Lots of links in the show notes, especially if you're going to be going to New York this weekend. Thank you for joining me. See you on Wednesday for a weekly stride. Remember, those are now on YouTube. If you want to go, if you prefer to watch, you can watch me answer the question. And our regular episode will be an update episode, actually. So I'll be telling you everything. If you've missed a few of these and you're coming back, all my updates will be coming, and a very honest and real answer about where I'm going will be coming to you on Friday. Thanks for listening.